Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me for the second time on Beer with Geeks is the host of third time? Oh my gosh. See, this is why video chat is an amazing thing. Because you can tell me that right now. It's Lauren. Hey.
Howdy. This is my second time with you.
You did one with Frank. That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
We talked about our favorite show.
That's right. What did you talk about? I don't remember.
Our favorite show? That 10-year-long show that has Superman in it?
Smallville. You talked about Smallville. Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't have Superman in it. It has Superman
for
a part of an episode, and that's the point. It didn't have him at the end. We're not here to talk about Smallville because I'll get angry. And I watched Smallville.
Okay.
I kind of like Smallville. I still kind of like it. It was just a disappointing finale.
Okay.
10 years, not one cowboy shot of him in the suit. Just not a full body shot. Give me a wide shot. Give me a full shot. I don't care. Nothing. Not a CG
I'm not
shot.
going to lie. I was really bothered by those uncomfortable close-ups to Tom Welling's head in the finale just to show that he wasn't even wearing a blue shirt.
Yep. Yeah. It was weird. It was really weird because there was either his head or the pinprick that was his body in the distance.
Right.
There was
like a little Sprite, basically.
You know what's funny? That I said, speaking of Sprite, so I'm drinking a beer here, and so it's called Feyborn. It's a Weisse. It's a Berliner Weisse. It's a blueberry Berliner Weisse. But you said Sprite, and it actually, I said I'd show you the can off air. It has a little fairy, a little Sprite on it over there, and one over there, and it's just this little girl holding a bear cub, and another one's eating blueberries. And then the mama bear is like, I'm definitely going to eat you because you're playing with my cubs.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm. But
I'm just going to say it's like a little poison ivy, and she's one with nature, so even like at a Disney princess level, so woodland creatures want to be around her. How about that?
I'll take that. That's excellent. I would agree with that. Well, anyway, this is from Down the Road Beer Company, and is excellent. Would recommend excellent beer. All right, what are you drinking?
The same thing I drink every time, Timothy. Lacroix.
I was going to say try to take over the world, Lacroix. Is that a particular... So it's there.
I'm glad you could pick up on my very bad impression of Brain.
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Oh, man, I loved Pinky and the Brain. I loved it. More than Animaniacs, actually. I looked forward to just Pinky and the Brain.
Animaniacs.
Hello, nurse. Man, some of those jokes do not play anymore.
Ooh, I've never actually rewatched any of those things. I think I'm a little terrified too.
Oh yeah, some of them are great. The President's Song and the Countries of the World will always be the top. Those were always the best. Help you know the presidents, help you know what countries of the world, even though a lot of those don't even have the same names anymore. It's fine. It's fine. Hey, we're here to talk about something that is not beer or Animaniacs. But although that would have been a great segue. It would have been an amazing segue. Next
on
time,
brand.
Yes, next time. We're here to talk about DCUniverse's Titans because you're a big fan and I'm a fan, and the new season is starting soon, and we should talk about season 1 because Frank's a loser and didn't watch it. Just kidding. Frank's not a loser. He's a great guy, but he didn't watch it. So you love this show, right? Yes?
I do love the show. And the thing is I think it's like the best superhero television show that's ever existed. And I think we're only at the tip of the iceberg. Like,
that's ever
I loved last season.
existed. Woohoo! That is high praise.
I know. It's kind of crazy. And this comes from a girl who loves Smallville and who watches like all the Arrowverse shows basically, and who likes some Marvel Netflix shows too. But the thing is all the Arrowverse shows is they suffer from a formulaic plot setup where there's always like a superhero and his team, and the richness of those heroes is that they're usually able to work independently, like operate on their own, aside from the bigger missions with the Justice League. And I'm really tired of seeing a tech genius on every single show, and there's always like this need to throw in like a million pop culture references that people my age actually do not know. Like I might know like every 5 that they mention. And then you have the Marvel Netflix shows, which I think they're really, really good. They have a lot of depth, but they feel a bit like detective and like cop procedurals if you like watch them back to back. It's just like, oh, this vaguely has superhero elements in it, but not really.
That's an excellent distinction, because I would argue that Daredevil is that's the best superhero television show to date. And I've watched most, if not all of them at some point in my life. But you're right; it is more of a cop procedural show, or even maybe a criminal or a court show than anything else, with superhero elements to it, which still makes it a superhero show. But it's not the focus in the way that, say, no one would argue that Flash is a CSI show that involves the Flash. It's a superhero show. So for Titans, it's a straight out superhero show.
And it's really the perfect middle ground in between those two, because it never at any point is not trying to be a superhero show. If anything, you kind of just get carried away with the characters sometimes, but like they never do that thing where they vaguely hint at, oh, this used to be the costume or something. It's no, there's that costume. We're not joking about it. It's, last season I did have problems with it, but I was just so amazed at how much I liked it. And I have a really good feeling about season 2. I feel like it's going to blow everything we've seen so far out of the water. It's going to be the full-fledged thing.
Were you expecting to like it, or were you apprehensive?
I thought I was going to love it. And I'm very proud of this, because when that trailer came out, everyone was bad-mouthing certain elements. They were like, oh, it's so dark, and what's with that horrible CGI with the
Robin jumping down off the bridge, or
what was it? Is it Haley Circus?
Haley Circus, yeah.
Haley Circus. They were talking about that, and I said, no, I just have a super, super good feeling about this. Like, it's going to be great. And then sometimes when you go with that mindset, it actually kind of sets you up for failure. But it didn't go that way for me.
Yeah, normally that type of my expectations are generally much larger than my eyes, I guess, as the paraphrase saying goes. So I have to temper my expectations all the time.
And since you're such an academic, it must be so difficult for you, because you naturally just break down everything.
It's funny that you said that, because my wife's cousin is a professional cinematographer. And he was just over visiting from LA, and I was talking like, are like movies ruined for you like by watching them? And he says, yeah, about 10% is entertainment, 90% is work. Like I see how they did this, and I see how they did this. I see how, and I do the same thing but with stories. I'll like look and be like, oh, this is how you did this, and this is where it's going, and now I've just ruined the plot for myself. Shoot. So a show that can surprise me. A show that can surprise me is always in my good graces, and Titans surprised me. And I think
same.
And I think that is why I think that's why I took to it. I didn't love the first season. I really liked the first season, but it was definitely a DCUniverse. We're figuring this out, like what the audience likes, what it doesn't like, how far can we take this? How far can we not take this? And I think each progressive episode got better. I think they got more comfortable with the fact that it was a comic book show, if that makes sense.
It does. I never thought about it in that context. I thought that from the beginning they knew what they were doing, though it is a very interesting departure, because it actually, I'm sure you know this, it is helmed by Greg Berlanti, who does all the Arrowverse shows. And I think he works on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina as well, and Riverdale.
Definitely Riverdale, which makes sense if he does Sabrina as well. I think he has something like 40 shows in production.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
crazy.
Good for that guy.
No, but I'm so excited because, this is a man who knows how to do, or I guess he proved that he knew how to do more than one superhero show. And I'm really excited at the prospect of what's coming.
Or I would think I would expand that to say, like, he knows how to do more than one type of superhero show. Because as you say, like, the CW shows, the Arrowverse shows are formulaic. And not just say, like, in their like, episodic 22-episode style, but, like, you have the superhero, and you have the nerd character, and you have this one, and you have this. And every show, you can plug in the characters to any show, which work when they have to cross over with one another. And when you, like, if you instantly understand one show by watching another one, just because the formula works, which is really strong. But like you said, Titans kind of proves that he doesn't have to work within that formula to make superheroes work.
Yeah, and I had a lot of surprises with Titans season 1. Namely, let's see. I think I only cared about one character going into this. I only cared about Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm. Really?
And,
you didn't get, no Raven for you, no Starfire or Beast Boy?
I mean, I only watched a couple episodes of the Teen Titans animated show, so I wasn't, like, in love with those characters. And even then, my predominant thought with Teen Titans is this is, like, a weirdly ambiguous Robin. That's, like, my bottom line thought with that show. But yeah, I wasn't overly attached to any of those characters. But then they came in and they had, what was it? The second episode is like Hawk and Dove, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then
characters
another
I
episode.
Don't care about it all, but the show makes me care about them. That's genius.
Well, here's the thing: is I still didn't care about them episode 2, and when that other episode was coming up, that was going to be Hank's entire backstory. I was like, oh God, here comes this week. I just have to watch this to watch it because I don't care about it, but I'm a completionist and I have to watch it anyway. And I was so moved to that entire episode. It made me care about a character that I had like a negative amount of interest in, basically.
Yes.
It wasn't like I wasn't interested. It was like I have such a negative amount of interest in this character, and I have very strong opinions. And if you can change that, like, that's incredible.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I disdained Hawk and Dove. Really, Hawk more than Dove, actually, for some reason. Yeah, I thought, like, the names are stupid, the original concept is dumb, and all of this stuff, and the comics over the years, television shows when they popped up in Justice League and, things like that, still never did it for me. It wasn't until this live-action show, until Titans, in those Hawk and Dove episodes where I was like, wow, they're cool. They really play off each other well, and this is like it's almost like watching buddy comedy is not correct. It's almost like watching Lethal Weapon with Hawk and Dove or something like that, but also their boyfriend and girlfriend, or whatever. Yeah. And
I was really amazed at the storytelling that they were able to do in that second episode with how much time they covered with all the vignettes between Hank and his brother was Donnie, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
And then from Dawn number 1 to Dawn number 2, just the way they moved through that was that's a lot to move through. They moved through like an entire lifetime, basically.
Well, the beautiful part about a streaming service is that you don't have exactly 42 minutes or something like that.
Yes.
We have to wrap this up right now. And so if the Hawk and Dove episode is going to be a little bit longer, it's going to be a little bit longer. Everybody shut up about it.
Actually, and on that note, I definitely took longer than an hour on my lunch break the day that the the show premiered. I was watching in my car, and I had to park in like a shadowy spot just to see everything that was going on.
Been there, done that.
And it was, or no, it wasn't the first episode because I watched that with friends. But there's an episode that came out later that was, I think it was like 65 minutes or something, and I was like, I'm definitely late.
Gotta not watching while driving, folks. That's illegal and dangerous. Get out of my way. Gotta park.
No, I was like parked, but like I had to like leave the job I was on, go to the parking lot, and So I was gone for about 75 minutes, and the lunch break was an hour.
Whoops! And you were never asked back again. No. That's excellent. That's excellent. So, have you watched it more than once?
There are some episodes I've watched a bunch of times. And I think I've told you about one of those episodes.
Yes. Well, I would actually like to talk about that episode right now because I'm pretty sure you're talking about the Donna Troy episode.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, or the first Donna Troy episode, I should say, which I think I said to you. I definitely said to you off air that I think it might be the best episode of the season, at least for me, because it set the tone that I wanted. And Frank and I say this all the time on the show, that my favorite superhero shows or moments are when they're literally just sitting around talking. And it's about themselves and their relationship, and they're hashing something out, because they're real characters. Not that I don't care when they fight Trigon or anything like that, but I actually care a little bit less about that, and I care more about them figuring their lives out.
Hard agree. I am obsessed with Dick and Donna's relationship. I agree so much and that's something that Titans does so well, is I do love all the superhero stuff, but I'm just enamored whenever they have these superhuman moments, whenever they go into the characterizations for these people who are watching. You were right. Donna Troy is definitely my favorite episode. I think I've watched that 4 or 5 times, which is a lot for me. Mm-hmm. And also, I'm so impressed. Also, Donna Troy is a character I did not care about. I was like, okay, that's definitely a Wonder Girl. Yeah. And I know nothing about her. And then I tried learning about her, and I was like, okay, why does she have 9 separate origins on Wikipedia? I don't know if it's actually 9, but it might as well be 9.
It's pretty close. You keep talking. We'll actually check to see how many origins she has. Because
one look up, folks.
Because nobody really has settled on a Donna Troy origin. And even in Rebirth and New 52 and everything like that, it's still confusing.
I remember that there's one version where she lost her family in a fire, and that's the one that Titans went with, which, this is the cool thing about shows like this, is that might become the definitive thing. You know how sometimes once it occurs in one canon, it just sort of everyone copies it.
That's right.
The question is to what extent is she an Amazon because she was kind of adopted? Anywho, I love that episode so much. Again, I did not care about Donna Troy as a character, and then she came in and she just sassed Dick the entire time, who was my favorite character in that show up until that moment, probably. And it was just, it was entrancing.
Do you like her because she was able to put your favorite character in their place? You know what I mean? So there's this is getting kind of golden age of Hollywood nerdy, but this is a true story. There's a true story that actress Lauren Bacall was had a high pitched voice, and the director Howard Hawks was like, you gotta change your voice, or people won't hire you. So she went away for a couple weeks, changed her voice, and then they went to, and then he took her to this party, and she couldn't get a ride home from a guy or from anybody. And so the director, they were friendly with each other, and he was like, well, how did you talk to everybody? She's like, I was really, really nice to everybody. She's like, don't put men down, and then they will talk to you. They will become attracted to you, and they will do what you need them to do, like give you a ride home. And she was like, okay. So she went up to this guy at a party, and she was like, hey, where'd you get your necktie? And he's like, why do you want to know? She's like, so I can tell people where not to shop. And he gave her a ride home, and that man was Clark Gable.
Oh my God.
Yep. True story. Actual true story. And so is Donna Troy Lauren Bacall in this situation, is my question.
I hadn't considered that, but I feel like that's going to be the episode title. As a listener of Beer with Geeks, sometimes you guys say something, I'm like, oh, that's the episode title. So is this episode title Lauren Bacall is...
I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said that because Frank usually takes care of the episode titles. Fun fact into the show. He usually writes them down. He waits for me to say something amusing, and then he writes it down. So I guess that's my job.
So Donna Troy is Lauren Bacall.
Yeah, we'll find out. That's definitely an option.
It's a contender. We'll see how it goes, folks.
It's a contender.
She might be that for me. It was a combination of a lot of things. And I remember when Connor Leslie was cast, and I was like, who's this? Mm-hmm. Kate. don't care. Not go see that person's face until they show up in the episode because that's how much I don't care. And then I was amazed how the actress came in after Donna Troy is like episode 8 or 9 or something. It's like very late in the show. I was amazed that this actress was able to come in and not only was she able to just act the hell out of her role, she was able to just seem as if she had known all those people for like so long. Like there's two types of like comfort that she came into the role with. It was, I'm okay being with this actor who's been every single episode of the show, and then also I'm okay with acting with him as if I've known him for actually 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. That was so impressive. And I think I love that episode because their chemistry is amazing, and you don't see a lot of platonic relationships that are done that well, and ones that are that well done immediately versus like there's a little something and then 2 seasons later the producer's like, oh, people keep on commenting on this, maybe we should develop them as friends more, you know? Right.
Yep. I absolutely agree with that. Like, I think even Friends, like Joey and Chandler, is a great example of that, because Joey originally on Friends was supposed to just be the roommate. Like, he actually wasn't really supposed to like blend with Chandler, and they weren't supposed to be best friends the way that they ended up becoming on the show, because the audience responded to their chemistry, and so it adapted for them to be closer than, like, say, Joey and Ross or something like that. But that's a non-superhero version of that. But Donna comes in and feels like she belongs in the world, and then she really feels like she could take everybody down at the same time, which is also, I think, is also really impressive, because you've, say, watched Dick Grayson as Robin do his thing several times already. Right. So I think that's good. I think it's time for a very important question, because it's us, and the last time that you talked to me on this show, we talked about superhero costumes. And so we should definitely be talking about the superhero costumes of Titans, or lack thereof. So let's start with the definite superhero costume. How do you like the Robin costume?
I think it looks great. They got the colors there. They didn't mute them too much. I love the chest plate. I love it. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. There's probably design I could love more, but not bad.
No, I agree with you. I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the best ones out there, because I always watch superhero TV. Oh, you have the Robin star. Oh, jealous. Even though it's not a star.
Wait, don't you have this?
No, I do not.
Don't you have this?
I do not.
For our listeners, I always kind of like fiddle with something, and when I'm recording, and I've been fiddling with the Robin throwing star from that they gave out in New York Comic Con last year. It's basically like a replica of what he has in the Titans show, and I thought Tim had it.
No, I do believe that the co-host of Academy Rewind, Palmer, was supposed to give it to me and never did. So, Palmer, where's my star?
He might have kept it.
He didn't even
I remember
watch the show. What a
oh my
give
goodness!
Me the star.
Wait, I'm always getting Palmer in trouble without realizing it.
I know. That's okay. I mean, it's okay. I am fiddling with a 1989 Batarang.
We both have like projectile weapons.
That's right.
Hand projectiles.
Which, I mean, is useless in our conversation right now, because if I throw this at my computer screen, it will not affect you at all, apart from maybe vaguely surprising you. But that's about it. Anyway, I think the Robin costume's great, but I also think about, like, okay, these actors have to wear this all day, long into the night. So how functional is it for them as actors, while also looking great on screen? And I always take that into account more. I take that into account more on a television show than a movie, because several seasons of wearing that suit versus several months of wearing that suit, with several months off as an actor. And
I see you, but they definitely need to replace that flash cowl.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, the flash cowl is just gross. It does not look good at all. That is just terrible. But we're not here to talk about that. It's so gross.
We already did talk about that.
Yeah, we did. It's so bad. It's so bad. But anyway, I really like the Robin suit. I really like Jason Todd's Robin suit as well. And I'll circle back to Jason Todd, and we can talk about him in all of his Jason Toddness after we get through the rest of it. But what about the looks of the rest of them? Because they're vaguely in this, like, Starfire's like, I wear a dark hood, and, like, Beast Boy's like, I wear my red jumpsuit, and, you know, like, all those types of things. And they're not really wearing costumes because they're still people. They're not superheroes right now. And so, do you think we're going to be getting some costumes this coming season, is my question.
From that trailer, that sizzle thing that we saw, there's going to be so many costumes I'm not going to be able to handle it. But I do have one more note on Dick Grayson, though, because there's something very important about Dick Grayson that goes beyond costume. He is supposed to be a very pretty boy, and I am so happy with Brenton Thwaites as Dick Grayson. He has the pretty boy hair, he has the pretty boy eyes, he has the pretty boy everything. And I know that's not technically costuming, but I'm so happy with him.
No, I agree with you. Dick Grayson, I mean, if you're really dive into like comic book, I mean, most, if not really all superheroes are good looking, right? That's like part of a thing about being a superhero in a comic book. The majority of them are amazingly good looking people. But Dick Grayson is even known within the DC universe for being extraordinarily good looking. Like, it's not like everybody's good looking, but Dick Grayson's even better looking than all of the good looking ones. It's
literally part of the show where they say he's pretty. Well, less prettier than Donna, but pretty.
I mean, he is pretty. He is pretty. I can recognize that, at least.
Bravo.
Thank you. He may not do it for me, but I recognize that he's pretty. Man.
So, other costumes?
Well, that's pretty much it for costumes, because even, like, when it gets to the rest of the show, there really aren't costumes. I mean, there's, like, Batman's costume in the nightmare sequence, but that's all hidden in shadow anyway. It's just a silhouette, so it's not it's hard to say like, oh, this is the costume or anything like that. But speaking of Batman, I do love that Batcave and Batmobile. Like, we see glimpses of them, but great. It actually looks like a cave and it looks like a Batmobile, because I'm real tired of like armored tank Batmobile. Could care less about that style. And the last Batcave on screen looked more like a concrete bunker than a cave, and I don't like that.
That's the thing.
Give me the Batcave.
I agree. Titans. That's part of the magic of the show. Is it pleases me in ways that I didn't know that I was like looking for. So when they showed the Batmobile and it was like vaguely sort of Porsche style, vaguely like Batman the Animated Series, like looking, that was just like the cherry on top. I didn't know I needed that. Then I saw it and I just howled out of like delight. It was so good to see.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's part of the tempering expectations bit, where I didn't even know I was looking for it. You know, I wasn't
right.
I didn't know what to expect. And so, because for years, I mean, we talked about Smallville at the top of this podcast, but like, you couldn't do a lot of you know what I mean? I still have like that Smallville mindset where like, oh, things are allowed and things aren't allowed, and what can we see and what can't we see, and everything like that. And so to actually be able to see stuff, like real comic book stuff, then that's exciting.
I can't believe that we're going to get a live action television Bruce Wayne. Has that ever happened? Wait, sorry. That was a really dumb question. Post Batman Bruce Wayne. Don't make that face at me.
I don't know, old chum. That seems... Well, there's Adam West, naturally. Many years. And then Gotham, that just wrapped up. So, for those who didn't know... I
apologize for not acknowledging Adam West, but I assume you were reacting mainly because of Gotham.
I actually was reacting to Gotham. I wasn't even reacting to Adam West. That's the best part. Because I was like, we've talked about Gotham so much. So much have we talked about that show, you and I. And that's what I thought of immediately. But, I mean, really, yes, we have seen adult Bruce Wayne on screen before in that of Adam West, though that is a much different style. So we have not really seen this style of Bruce Wayne in live action before, though we're going to get two, I would say, silver foxed Bruce Waynes in one television season, I guess, because we have Titans premiering in September with a bit of a more rugged, older Bruce Wayne. And we also have Kevin Conroy playing an older Bruce Wayne on the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover.
I just got so confused for a second. Okay. Yes, that. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so we're going to get elder statesman Bruce Wayne twice in this little world. I mean, that's crazy. That's
it really
unheard of for years and years and years. I mean, the whole reason Green Arrow was on Smallville is because they couldn't use Batman or Bruce Wayne, so they used Green Arrow instead.
And then Supergirl was a show, and for that entire first season, we're like, is Superman ever going to be allowed on the show? And then when he, Tyler Hoechlin's been on Supergirl so many times now, but every time it's like, wow, I can't believe they can do this. It makes sense. He's supposed to be in that property. But just because we've had things sort of dangled above us, like there have not been low-hanging fruit when it comes to
you little nerds. Come get your hopes and wishes,
I know. Just the idea of having like a Bruce Wayne, that like an adult Bruce Wayne, a post-Batman Bruce Wayne that we can take seriously, live action is just television is, I don't even know how to deal with that. That's crazy.
No, I know. And I don't expect to see Batman. I expect to see Bruce Wayne, if that makes sense. Because I can't remember who's playing him. It's the guy who played Ser Jorah on Game of Thrones. Ian Glenn. Ooh, I did that without looking that up. I have a witness. Did not look that up. Ian Glenn is in his 50s, I think, maybe his 60s already. So
I think he's in his 60s.
So right. So this is. I'm not expecting to see him dress up as Batman. I'm only expecting to see Bruce Wayne. And for the direction of the show, I think they're going with Batman's on the way out, so we need Titans to be on the way up, if that makes sense.
I will say the timeline, this is the hardest part about being a DC fan is you always have this argument of you have access to all these things, why can't you just put them all in the same place or act nice or get them all in the same universe remotely. It's so frustrating. And with Titans, Dick Grayson is about 29 years old, and then they said Jason Todd is 19, which that kid, he is I think he's 22 or something. Mm-hmm. He's a young adult. He's not. Most 22-year-olds don't have growth spurts, so that's really confusing for me to look at that actor. They should have, if they were going to go with him, they should have right away said he's only 15 or something, because then he has time to grow into the physique, and you can believe him as a Red Hood character later.
Well, I have a
additionally
question though. Did they say that on the show, or did they say it off the air? Or in an interview?
I think he has a line where he says he's 19. I think he steals someone's alcohol, and then I think Dick gives him a look, and he's like, "I'm 19" or whatever.
Could be lying.
He could be.
He could be lying. It would be. It's Jason's MO.
That would be great if he's lying.
Jason's
he
MO to
looks
lie.
like he's 15.
Yeah, maybe they were
15 to 17 would be.
They
great.
might have also been trying to get around the child endangerment thing, and so by making him 19, it kind of allows him to be an adult to make those own choices, even if he is a young adult and not making great life decisions.
Regardless of his age, whether he's 15 or 19, it really bugs me though, because Dick shouldn't be 29 when Jason's 15 to 19, however old he is.
I agree with that. I think that the age gap is a little too far apart, but they're.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they don't really mention their ages, I don't really think about it. Or
I'm such a stickler for ages. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't.
That's another thing. As Bruce's is 60s, and I think following canon, I think even with Dick being roughly around 29 years old, Bruce should still be in his early 40s. So it's weird to me to see him as a 6-year-old man and actually looking like his dad. And that shot in the new trailer when they're walking next to each other, it's wow, that is his old man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Unless, just because an actor is a certain age doesn't mean they actually play an age, and that goes younger or older. So let's say Ian Glenn actually is 62 or whatever. He might be technically 52. You know what I mean?
See, my thing about that is he is visibly in his 60s, and they made him look better than that, but he still is visibly like a middle-aged man versus like I don't consider early 40s middle-aged. Maybe that's me in my New York life, but he looks like someone who's in his like 50s or 60s. Like he looks like a guy who's really good for that age, but he still looks of that
right.
age.
He's not like Tom Cruise good for his age. He's like regular human good for his age.
I don't know if I would say Tom Cruise is good for his age, but okay.
Tom Cruise is in his 50s. He looks amazing. Well,
I see plastic surgery nonstop when I look at his face.
It doesn't matter. He still looks amazing for his age. Not Cher technically looks amazing for her age too, even though she can't move her face. You know, like
okay,
you know,
okay.
Bruce Wayne would definitely get some plastic surgery to keep up the Playboy facade for as long as possible.
Moral of the story: Lauren gets really frustrated when it comes to ages, and people just like having such a divergent canon when it comes to ages. Like it blows my mind in the worst way.
Well, I think I generally agree, though. I think that a TV you can only give so many, like it can only be so close, you know. Because let's say this actor's perfect, except he's 3 years older than the age he's supposed to be, you know, and things like that. Plus,
right.
Between seasons, like months happen, years happen. People like it would be like getting angry that like Daniel Radcliffe was 11 when he filmed the first Harry Potter, but he wasn't 17 by the last one. You know what I mean? It's like It's impossible.
They got very lucky with that casting.
They got very lucky with that. I agree, but like you can only keep people's ages so close at one point. So so either the story has to move along with it, and I'm pretty sure that they're at the point now where like, okay, you can use old Bruce Wayne. Is everyone okay with that? Is that like a thing? You can't use Batman, but you can all use old Bruce Wayne. That seems to be the new allowance. So we'll see what happens.
I dream of a world where there's no caveats to using characters in a property.
Yeah, me too. And I think we'll reach that. We'll definitely reach that point one day, because like
we will be 50.
Right. But I mean, whoever thought that we would reach this point where multiple actors playing the same part are going to team up in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and there's literally a whole streaming service devoted to DC superheroes with DC superhero shows. There's whoever thought there'd be a Teen Titans, basically Adult Titans television show plus Swamp Thing again, but good this time, you know, and Doom Patrol of all things, and you know that's. So I think anything's possible. I'm becoming much more of an optimistic fan as I get older, as opposed to getting angry at things, because it seems to be if you wait long enough, dreams do come true.
I guess.
I know, it's so much more fun to be angry. I know, Jason.
Oh, it's definitely not. I have a weird disillusionment relationship with these things. I get really angry, and then I just stop caring, and then I get surprised. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I start having the expectations again, and then I get angry. So I just, the moments when I'm not expecting anything, but then something just happens, I'm like, oh, that's great. I wish I could live in that, but that's the weird, I guess, self-fulfilling prophecy of you making something so good that I get invested and I want more.
That's right. I mean, even between seasons, let's say season 1 was good. I mean, this could do a Krypton, and season 2 could be incredible and like eye-popping, and you can't get enough. Or it could.
I really think that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I hope so, because it could go the way of, say, I don't know,
Flash season 3.
Flash season 3. I was going to say True Detective season 2. You know, like anything like that. Like it could just take up. Even Stranger Things season 2. People were not up on the way they like season 3, so it could take a dive. I'm not sure. 2 things. I want to talk about Jason really fast, and I want to talk about what's coming in season 2.
Sure.
I really liked this version of Jason because instead of him just being a whiny kid just for the sake of being a whiny kid, he has like real, I don't know, I guess he has 21st century aggression, if that makes sense. So he's going to feel dated even just in a few short years, but I think that will only add to my dislike for that character, if that makes sense. Like, because you're not really supposed to like Jason. So if he's like, hey, bro, and this and that, like this thing, like you're like, ugh, you make me cringe. It'll only make you cringe more. So it's like a fine wine in reverse. He's only going to get worse as you get older, and it's going to be great.
That's very interesting. I love his attitude. He feels every bit like of course, we always go back to Batman Under the Red Hood, like one of the most perfect animated movies ever. That kid who's doing the flips and he says, "This is the best day of my life" at the end of the movie. This Jason Todd does actually feel a lot like that to me because he's so excited to be Robin. What I'm not down for is they did give him legitimate like psychopathic traits. When he just stomps that cop and like basically breaks his back, you're just attacking a cop for no reason. It's not like, because Jason's rules, I think he goes after people who hurt women and children.
That's right.
But I mean, maybe you could justify it as he's a kid. He doesn't know what's right or wrong, whatever. But at the same time, I still think he's old enough that that's such a harmful way to think of the character.
Well, I think that it could go two ways, because if you could say like, oh, he's just a kid, he doesn't know right from wrong. You know right from wrong when you're 7. So like you don't really have an excuse that sort of, when you're 19.
Right. And that sort of talk is like what we frown upon in other situations.
Right.
So like I don't want to allow it, being aware of that. But at the same time, like I know that you don't make good decisions when you're younger usually, or like you would probably do a lot of things differently as an adult.
His upbringing lends him to be a little damaged, and then being Robin doesn't actually help him. It makes it worse. Whereas it helped Dick a great deal, even though he doesn't see it that way just yet. At the end of season 1, it helped him. And I don't like Jason is the antithesis to that. And so I like that the show is kind of setting up like a collision of ideologies on their part. And I think it's going to blow up in a big way. So I'm looking forward to that. Season 2 really, really fast because we're over time now for Beer with Geeks.
Oops. Of course.
What are you most excited for within the coming season?
Donna. I can't wait to see more from that, like one episode, and then maybe the 15 seconds we have her in the later episodes. I just can't wait to see her interact with the cast more. I want to see her like order everyone around, basically. Like, I can't wait to see her as like the mother hen to the Titans. That's what it seems like she's going to be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to less running around. What are we doing? And a little bit more like, okay, we're superheroes now. Let's do this. Let's be superheroes.
I do agree.
Yeah, I need a little bit of that. I'm like not entirely interested in like what Trigon is up to. That's kind of how the episode ended, and I'm like, I don't really care, honestly. Like even like Starfire's mission and everything like that, I'm like need a little. I'm just okay. Need some more. Need something different. Not sure what it is.
Well, we do have a really awesome tease for next season. And actually, the season 2 premiere was supposed to be the season 1 finale.
Yes, I knew that. Where they felt that it worked better as a premiere and not a finale. Or the previous episode 10 or whatever it was worked better as the finale than what their finale was. So I think they reshuffled some things. Like it's not just this was the episode. I think they went back and reshot some stuff just to kind of make it blend in a little bit more. So I think we'll defeat Trigon, but not completely defeat Trigon kind of thing. Like we're going to hold this back and it's going to be an overarching problem. Past, it's not like, oh my gosh, we killed one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe in a snap. Go team.
Well, Raven does have the jewel on her forehead in the previews, so they might actually nip that in the bud. Additionally,
trapped in the jewel. I'm telling you,
yes,
yeah.
Additionally, though, the problem with all the what do you call it? The Arrowverse shows, or at least in my opinion, the problem with them is the season-long villains. It slows down the momentum so much. I feel like on that note, they won't do that. I think they're going to go into Deathstroke. What I'm interested in is if they have reshuffled stuff, if they have reshot things to allow for different things to happen. Originally, Dick was supposed to become Nightwing in the season 1 finale. So what happens? Do we get this new premiere that was supposed to be the finale, and then we get the flashback episode, and then we get Nightwing? Or do we have to wait a whole other season to see him as Nightwing? I can't handle that.
I don't think we have to wait a whole other season because that's a whole other season of a less superhero show, if that makes sense. Because like Starfire is not really into her role completely yet. Beast Boy isn't. Raven isn't. And Donna's kind of retired. The only people who are actually superheroes still doing stuff actively is Hawk and Dove.
Right. And it's... Oh, side note. We didn't talk about Ryan Potter.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I will go back to... I'll go back to the Momentum thing. Just want to point out real quickly, Ryan Potter did this online campaign to be cast as Tim Drake in the Matt Reeves Batman movie, and that didn't happen because for a lot of reasons. Like the movie didn't happen for one. Also, they
the Matt Reeves Matt Reeves Batman movie, the one that is happening with Robert Pattinson.
Didn't they pick like 4 directors for that, or am I thinking of the Flash movie?
You're thinking of the Flash movie.
Oh, actually, no. He was supposed to be in the Batman movie directed by Ben Affleck. There we go. He did like a whole campaign. He did like a stunt video where he was doing like parkour and martial arts and stuff. So he was like campaigning hardcore for this role, which wouldn't happen because in the Snyderverse, the DC Extended Universe, it was decreed that there was only one Robin, and it was Dick Grayson. But anywho, so Ryan Potter did all this to get noticed by DC, and then they cast him in a role where all his stunts are done by a CG character.
Oh, wow. That is so sad.
I realized this the other day, and I was like, no.
He has the ability to do all that stuff, and they're like, no, CG Tiger.
It reminds me of, did you ever watch Glee?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The character Artie, played by Kevin McHale, he was wheelchair bound, and he was actually the only person on the cast who had dancing experience. And he was in a wheelchair. For all of it. That's funny because I was just thinking about his version of Dancing with Myself the other day. Like legitimately, like his version of it came. I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's good stuff. Great stuff. What were we talking about before that? Momentum. I think that they're going to nip Trigon in the bud in the season 2 premiere, and I think the main thing is going to be Deathstroke because they have a lot to play with. They have like the son, Jericho, and like the daughter, the Rose. One who's also missing an eye. Rose, there we go. They have a lot of time to build up to the eventual threat of him. There's a lot going on. That's my prediction for season 2 is I think that Trigon's, I do agree he was not an impressive villain, so if they finish up with him, that's fine. I mean, he was barely in it to be impressive, so I like that actor. I watched him on Castle. Can't remember his name, but he's funny. I mean, not that Trigon's funny, but, we'll see what happens. We're definitely out of time on Beer with Geeks, though, so you can find us at beerwithgeeks.com and thoughtbubbleaudio.com. Check out all of the Thought Bubble audio shows. Beer with Geeks at Facebook, Gmail, and Twitter. You can rate and review us on iTunes. Find us all other places podcasts can be found. Lauren, where can the people find you? You guys can find me anywhere at Lauren Neckow-Win. Feel free to send me seltzer recommendations. Fantastic. Okay. And you can find me at TimothyPG13. And so, until next time, cheers. Cheers.